All right, there's a Wall Street Journal headline that really caught our eye tonight. The exclusive report outlines how the United States secretly warned Iran before an ISIS terrorist attack earlier this month because our intelligence agencies picked up it was about to happen. The attack on January 3rd targeted a memorial at the burial site of slain military commander Qasem Soleimani, who was assassinated by the U.S. in 2020. At least 84 people died in that terrorist attack. More than 280 were hurt. According to the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. provided Tehran with intelligence that could have helped the Iranians stop the attack. This news comes at the height of tensions between Iran and the U.S. Iran is currently backing the Houthi rebels in Yemen, which the Biden administration declared a terrorist organization. And not only that, Tehran is also providing ammo and money to militias in Syria and Iraq, as well as Hamas, that are all targeting U.S. bases in the Middle East. So why would the U.S. help a country it's actively working against? And why would Iran fail to stop an attack it knew it was coming? Joining us now to answer those questions and more is national security and foreign policy analyst Ari Aramesh. Ari, there's something in this article called a duty to warn that's in the intelligence community. Explain what that is.
Well, as an attorney, the concept of duty to warn is very different than in law and in sort of a duty to warn when you know imminent and clear dangerous bodily harm is going to happen to somebody. With that analogy, I'd like to sort of draw the viewer's attention to this notion that when we have actionable intelligence, when we know that there is going to be an event, a tragedy, when we know lives are going to be lost or people are going to be hurt, we have a moral duty and a moral obligation to notify the governments in charge. Now, keep in mind, this is the Islamic State attacking the Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic of Iran has been in power for 44 years. I mean, they are the master sponsors of state-sponsored terrorism in the world. But two reasons why this really draws a lot of criticism. A, we warned them about a week before the attacks. They had about a week to get their act together. So either A, it's utter sheer incompetence, or B, they really wanted this to happen because they didn't send any of the key officials to this town. The daughter of General Qasem Soleimani.
Right, all the important people didn't go.
Yes, the daughter of Qasem Soleimani, who's supposed to be sort of the hostess, the grand hostess of this event, didn't show up. Nobody from the top brass of the IRGC, that's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, showed up. Guess who showed up? The people. The regime supporters and people who went out there to mourn the 4th anniversary of Soleimani's loss. And by the way, one of the better decisions President Trump made to take out Qasem Soleimani, head up the IRGC Quds Force.
So, all right, why would, if this happened, that we know it happened, that the U.S. did warn Iran, we know the warning was about a week in advance, why would Iran not allow the attack to occur? What's in it for them? What narrative does it play to?
So let's put aside the sheer incompetence bucket. That's not the case. Let's go to, this was an intentional, willful act of letting this happen and then trying to take advantage of it politically. A, they can always play the victim's card. I mean, the first thing they did after these attacks, the Iranian regime came out and said this was Israel and this was the United States. False and false. We all knew it false, but then, they were trying to placate their domestic audience. Then they launched a bunch of missiles. If you remember, just a couple of weeks ago, they launched missiles against 3 countries. First, Iraq. They hit sort of northern Kurdistan, northern Iraqi Kurdistan. Then they hit Syria. Then they hit Pakistan, and Pakistan retaliated. Pakistan is not Syria. Pakistan is not Iraq. It's one of the largest militaries in the world. And then they hit back inside Iran. So what did Iran do? Iran said, well, they took out some Mossad, that's the Israeli intelligence elements in northern Iraq, who were responsible for this attack. Again, there's this bogus notion, and then try to feed this conspiracy theory that the U.S. and Israel created ISIS. We all know that's not true. We all know that's another conspiracy theory. But again, they tried to take advantage of it. But I want to tell you this. The Islamic Republic of Iran is willing to let its own citizens, not just its citizens, its loyal supporters who show up to regime events, it's going to let them die and bleed to death as long as it can take and juice a little bit of political advantage out of it. And that's why the Biden administration has never understood how to deal with this regime. They don't have the same rationale. They don't have the same values. And unfortunately, when they come to the negotiating table, they don't act and behave the same way that we do.
Well, thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.